All right, so I've been testing my mouse for a long time, trying to figure out what's causing this stutter. So the mouse I'm using is a Logitech G Pro X Superlight 2 DeX. As you can see on the G Hub, yeah, I set to 800 DPI just to test it. And the wireless report rate is 8 kilohertz. Wired report rate is 1 kilohertz. So what I've learned is that, lower DPI does not stutter at 8 kilohertz. But as soon as I go above 3000 DPI or CPI, it would stutter. And you also notice this unwanted beep sound on Windows 11 operating system. So right now I'm running at 800 CPI, and the software I'm testing is Samsung Magicians. As you can see, when I move my mouse, no stutter. See, no beep sound. Everything's smooth. That's what it's supposed to run like that. See, there's no mouse jitter, no stutter, nothing. Okay, so go back to G Hub. So I'm gonna raise to 1200 DPI. This is running fine. See, no stutter, smooth. No mouse jumping frames or anything. Okay, so now let me go raise up to 3000 DPI. That is also working fine. No beeps, no stutter whatsoever. Nothing. That's perfectly fine. So when I raise it to 22,000 DPI, oh man, it's gonna stutter. Watch. Yep, there it is. That's stutter. See, you hear the beep sound? See, it skips frames, starts to stutter. No good. That's not what I want. Okay, so let's go back to G Hub and raise it up to 44,000 DPI. That is the maximum DPI resolution of the G Pro X Superlight 2 DeX. Same thing with, G Pro X Superlight 2, which I do have the other mouse. It does exactly the same thing, and the wireless report rate is, I believe, is 8 kilohertz, yeah, or 8,000 hertz. See, you still hear the beep. I hate that sound. Let's go back to the Magician software. See, stutters. You hear the beep. Nope, that's not what I want. Even if I go Adobe Photoshop or DaVinci Resolve, it would stutter. No matter what I'm doing, no matter how fast I move my mouse, it still stutters. That's not what I want. That's something that the Logitech needs to be aware of. Because, to me, I think there's something wrong with the Hero 2 sensor. They still need to fix it, because somehow if they encourage you use 8 kilohertz, then yeah, they have to somehow update the sensor. Otherwise, if you want to run very high DPI and 8 kilohertz, then yeah, I don't know. They just gotta come with a better technology that doesn't, interfere while you're still running at very high DPI and higher polling rates. So yeah, in order to compensate that to run at higher DPI, yeah, you have to go back to G Hub software and sit down to 1 kilohertz. That is the safest range. It doesn't stutter too often, although sometimes it may happen, but most of the time it doesn't. But yeah, that's crazy. How come it has to be set down to 1 kilohertz? Even though I have the very fast CPU, which I'm running AMD Ryzen 9950X3D. That's the fastest AMD desktop CPU on the market. So I don't know why Logitech isn't aware of it. None of it on internet hasn't been talking about the 8 kilohertz polling rate. It's been been a problem for quite some time. So I don't know. People have been saying you got uninstall G Hub and then reinstall again. No, it does not work. Even if you uninstall device from Device Manager and then reinstall again, that's not going to fix the problem. No. So the only way to fix it is to lower down the DPI until it doesn't stutter, while you're still running at 4,000 hertz, polling rate, 2,000 hertz, or especially 8,000 hertz polling rate or 8 kilohertz, which I want to run 8 kilohertz because it does help reduce latency. But at the same time, it will stutter at very high DPI, like 10,000, 22,000, or even 44,000 DPI. That's bad. But I'm specifically talking about the Logitech G mouse. This is happening all Logitech G mouse. Yeah, I really think there's really something wrong with the sensor, and that's something that they gotta improve it. I cannot speak about the Razer mouse, like Razer Death Adder, Razer Viper, because I have not owned these mouses. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but that's been an issue with my Logitech G mouse. I don't know if you guys are having the same problem. But I mean, if you guys don't have any issues, that's great. But for me, I found out that I cannot run very high DPI. It just causes a lot more problem, like stutter, mouse juddery movements. When I'm like freaking aiming down the sight in first person shooter, like Counter-Strike for instance. But yeah. So, I would say, the best safest range to run at 8 kilohertz polling rate is to, run between like 1200 to 3000 DPI. Anything higher than 3000 DPI will cause stutter, no matter how fast you're going to move your mouse across the screen. It does not matter. Even if you try to move your mouse at a very short distance, it's still going to stutter, no matter what you're doing, no matter what apps you run with. But yeah, that is really something that Logitech needs to, be aware of it. And I hope to God that the manufacturer will, improve the Hero sensor. Maybe we're gonna come with like Hero 3 sensor. I hope to God. It does not matter if they raise it, like maybe 55,000 DPI or so. No, it has to be, very consistent when it comes down to the wireless report rate. Because that's what many customers, buy for, We want like, better performance, but we want like good latency and good battery life, but also a really comfort level. That's what really matters when it comes down to like competitive gaming mouse products. That's what vast majority PC gamers care about. Yeah, I had to speak off my chest. But other than that, yeah, that's all I had to say. So if you guys are, having this, mouse starting issue at 8 kilohertz wireless report rate, yeah, just try to lower down DPI, try to run between, 800 or try maybe 1500 DPI or sometime maybe 2500 DPI or so. Then hopefully it shouldn't stutter anymore. Yep. So that's about it. Hopefully, Logitech is listening, especially to you, the product manager, Chris Pate. You're responsible for that company, and hopefully this time you will make a much better mouse that does not stutter. Especially with this new mouse coming out next year. I believe is the Logitech the G Pro X2 Super Strike, which I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to try this new inductive haptic like click feedbacks. I want to see how fast I can click the mouse. Yep, so that is about it, guys. Take care and stay safe.